And so we come to the final thread for today. This one's titled Personal, Possibly Stupid Question. Before my current boyfriend or father of my baby, my last partner gave me an STD, chlamydia, which I took medication for and have been completely clear for since. Fast forward to the father of my baby, there's no reason to think I would have had to tell him. I'm worried that on my first ultrasound, where they ask health history questions, they would bring that up in front of him, like the doctor would ask me if I ever had an STD or something. I'm super embarrassed, even though it's a common thing. I just don't want to talk to anyone about it and get called out in front of my boyfriend on an exciting day. Will they ask about this or bring it up? I have no STDs now. I would never, ever hide that from my partner, which is great. I'm really happy for that. This thread is interesting because there is an underlying sense of shame here with regards to having had chlamydia. And that's the part that I really want to explore. There's one aspect of this, and a lot of the people do say this as well, where you can argue, and it's fair enough to argue, that your boyfriend is not entitled to your private medical information. You do not have to tell him about your previous health history. And this is true, and this is fair enough. There's no sense of entitlement here. I think that is not where I would come at this question from. Let's instead say, what does it say about your relationship that you are uncomfortable sharing things like this with him? Now, some aspect of it is a general health aspect. And health topics in general, I would say, like if you have a really successful, great relationship where you're very open with each other and you're very intimate and you don't have secrets, then you would be able to share private health care information with your partner, and he would be on your side and helpful to you, and it's a supportive partner during that process. What complicates this is that it's an STD, and so I think that this is coming more from this place of not wanting your current boyfriend to be faced with the reality of you having had previous sexual relationships in the past, and that I think is fair enough. What I also find really interesting in terms of how she phrases this, I'm super embarrassed even though it's a common thing. And that's kind of sad. So there's a certain amount of lack of self-awareness, I guess, in terms of why she's embarrassed by it, because she thinks that, hey, everyone gets STDs, it's a pretty normal thing. Maybe you are not that proud of your previous history in terms of how many sexual partners you had or the way your previous relationships played out, and that's where this sense of shame is coming from. It's fair enough not to tell him. A lot of people will say you can lie because they test you for chlamydia during your pregnancy anyway, so it's not a big deal. Probably not good to do as a rule, right? If you can avoid lying to your partners about things, then it's probably good to avoid lying to them. And I think all of these moments where you have a signal in your relationship that says, nah, I really want to hide this, that's probably a signal that you should really pay attention to, because it's a red flag. It's much better to be honest with your partner as much as possible than it is to try and hide things, even if you think it's going to be awkward, and even if you think it's uncomfortable, and even if they don't have a right to that information anyway.